YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the top 6 reasons why you cannot see progress. And I promise you, if you are not seeing progress, it's one of these 6 things. I promise you. I just know for a fact it is one of these 6 things if you're not seeing the progress you want to see, especially when it comes to your weight loss journey. But this could be muscle building, this could be any fitness journey, really. So we're just going to dive right in. Number 1, you are not tracking your progress accurately enough. And what I mean by this is the scale is not the only measure of progress. You do understand that, right? You probably know that. But the amount of people who know that and then don't do anything about it is absolutely astonishing. Like, you're probably watching this right now and you're like, oh shit, he's talking about me. All I do is check my body weight. I don't track my measurements. I don't track my progress pictures. I don't track my workouts. I don't track my pant size. I don't track my belt notches. All you're tracking is your body weight, which is, oh, by the way, the most fickle thing when it comes to progress. It is the most fickle way, the least reliable way to track your weight loss progress and any progress, really. It's not that accurate. It's one form of data, and you absolutely can and should track it, but you have to be tracking other forms of progress, because you are going to think, oh my God, I'm not making any progress. But in reality, and I see this all the time, where somebody's tracking their body weight and it's not moving that much, but then their measurements are going down and their progress pictures are looking different and their clothes are fitting differently and they're getting stronger in their workouts. But they think they're not seeing progress, and you think you're not seeing progress because your weight isn't going down. Dude, it's not all about your weight. You have to make sure you are tracking other forms of progress. And if you don't know what else to track, if you want an exact, hey, track these things right here, I did an entire video on YouTube literally laying out exactly what you should be tracking, especially for weight loss, or more importantly, fat loss progress. And so check that video out if you don't know what to track, but you have to. As of today, it's a non-negotiable. If you want to see change in your body, you got to track more than just your body weight. Think about if you were going to track anything else. If you're going to track, daily spending for your budget, if you're going to track, your kids' grades, if you're going to track anything, you would never just track one thing, because you only get one piece of data. And that's what this entire journey is. You're just collecting data to see, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? Am I seeing progress? Am I not seeing progress? But you're basing your progress off of solely the scale, which is the worst way to base your progress off of. So, number 1, please start tracking other forms of data, all right? Number 2, you are not being consistent enough. And right now, I want you to seriously stop. If you're somebody, for example, who wants to lose body fat, I want you to go back at your last 31 days, okay? Go back at your last 31 days. How many days did you hit your calories or stick to your nutrition plan? How many days did you not stick to your calories, go over your calories, and or just not track? I'll wait, because I can assure you of this. If you are somebody who's watching this video and you're like, oh my God, I can't see progress, and you go back and look at the last 31 days and you've only been 18 days consistent, dude, you're just simply not being consistent enough to see progress. And that's why you're not seeing progress. It's not because the plan sucks. It's not because you suck. It's not because of anything else. You're just not being consistent enough to see progress. And us as humans do 2 things really well. We overestimate how many calories we're eating. We underestimate how many calories we're eating, and we overestimate our consistency. That was about to be backwards, but I got it right. We overestimate our consistency and underestimate the calories we eat. And so right now, maybe not even to your fault, because what happens a lot of times is people get in their head and they're like, oh my God, like, why am I not seeing progress? What's going on? I'm being so consistent. And all you think about is weight loss. All you think about is the scale. All you think about is all this stuff. Well, if all you're thinking about is weight loss and losing weight and the scale and dieting, you just kind of forget about the Tuesday night that you didn't track your calories. You forget about the Saturday. This happens all the time with my clients sometimes. I'm going to say all the time, sometimes. They'll track breakfast on Saturday, they'll track lunch on Saturday, and then dinner is nowhere to be found. And I'm like, hey, what went on at dinner? Oh, forgot to track that. Okay, we can pretty much chalk that up to, I didn't hit my calories that day, which is fine. But if you're somebody who's getting very frustrated, emotional, so on and so forth about not seeing progress, you gotta be honest with yourself, man. And that is really hard. Like, that is really hard to be that honest with yourself. But that's why when you track your consistency, you can see laid out, fuck, I'm not being consistent enough. If you are somebody who's getting frustrated at not seeing progress, if you have not been, I'm gonna go on the higher end here, if you have not been 90% consistent with your plan, you have no reason to wonder why you're not seeing progress. It's because you're not being consistent enough. And I would strongly encourage you to start tracking your consistency. Track how many days you hit your calories and did your workouts versus how many days you did not. Again, in a 31-day span, that would mean you need to hit your calories 28 out of 31 days roughly to make sure you get that 90% marker. And if not, nothing's wrong with the plan. You're just not being consistent enough, all right? So that's number 2. Number 3, you are not tracking calories accurately. And I'll say 2 quick things on this. Number 1, this is usually the most common thing. I'll just be very very blunt, very frank, very honest. This is normally what's happening 9.9 times out of 10 because most people, not to their own fault, but they just don't know how to track calories accurately. They don't know they have to use a food scale. They don't know they have to weigh their food in grams. They don't know that cups and tablespoons and ounces are vastly inaccurate. So here's where people get really frustrated. You think you're tracking calories and you're not seeing progress. You're hitting 1,200 calories, you're hitting 800 calories, whatever the case that you think you are. And you're like, why am I not seeing progress? Well, the fact of the matter is you're just simply not tracking your calories accurately. So again, 2 quick things here. Number 1, if you're not using a food scale to weigh your food in grams, you're not tracking your calories accurately. And I'm gonna say it one more time. If you're not using a food scale to weigh your food in grams, not cups, not tablespoons, not ounces, and you're gonna ask me, why not? Cups, tablespoons, ounces, those are units of measurement of volume, okay? We're not measuring the volume of a food. We're measuring the weight of a food. So the unit of measurement of weight is grams. Now, if you're like, what does this mean? Listen, I've done an entire video here on YouTube. It's one of the best videos I've done, one of the best performing videos, one of the best educational videos. I show you the difference between weighing something in ounces and weighing something in grams, weighing something in cups versus weighing something in grams. If you're somebody who's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, I'm weighing in grams or I'm using my tablespoons, go watch that video. Go watch it. Your eyes will open up and you will be mind blown at the difference that it can make between using grams and using cups and tablespoons and ounces. And so please, I encourage you, go watch that video. It's literally the same video I send to my clients who pay me money to coach them. Like it's all there for you, all right? So go check it out. Now, number 4, it just hasn't been long enough for you to see progress. Remember, Cheryl, 12 hours of you being on a calorie deficit and counting your calories is not going to produce the results you want. You understand that, right? You didn't gain, everybody's heard this, but it's true. You didn't gain the weight in a month. You're not gonna lose the weight in a month. It takes time, man. You being on a deficit for 6 days and wondering why my weight hasn't gone down, it hasn't been long enough, dude. I've had multiple clients where their weight has not moved for 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, honestly. No weight loss, none, zilch, zippo. But what happened? Number 1, we were tracking other forms of progress, so we saw their measurements were going down and their progress pictures were looking different. So for us, we're like, well, shit, all right, like maybe our weight's not going down, but our measurements are, and we look different and our clothes feel different. All right, cool. That lets us know that we're on the right track. And so many of you, going back to this one more time, you're not tracking this shit. So if you're not tracking it, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna think you're not seeing progress and you're gonna quit. All because you can't just track other forms of data. Please, I'm begging you, track these other forms of data. Everybody's gonna watch this video and they're gonna be like, oh, that's a nice idea. And you're not gonna go do it. Go do it. Track other forms of data, please. So that's number 1. We saw her measurements were going down and her progress pictures looked different. So we didn't freak out about the scale not moving because she's looking different. She's getting stronger and positive things are happening. But guess what? After that 4th, 5th, and 6th week, guess what happened? She lost 4, 5, 6 pounds. So let me say this again. She didn't lose weight for 5 weeks. On the 5th week, she lost 5 pounds. And then she kept it off and kept losing weight. So in 5 weeks, she lost 5 pounds. That's an average of 1 pound per week. That would be tremendous progress. It just happened on the 5th week. If she would have quit during the 1st week, during the 2nd week, during the 3rd week, during the 4th week. If she would have quit, never would have saw that. Never would have saw that. Never would have saw progress again. Dude, sometimes your body is just stubborn. Like, it just is what it is. If you're doing everything right. Now, again, if you're not being consistent enough, and you're not tracking calories, well, that's why you're not seeing progress. But if you're somebody who's like, dude, I'm being spot on, sometimes your body is just a little bit stubborn, man. And like, it happens to all of us. All of us have it, okay? So you can't just quit when your weight hasn't gone down in 4 days. You have to give it at least 28 days. You heard it, 28. I said 28 days. Not 28 hours, not a week, not 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 28 days is what you have to give yourself before you do anything. Before you compare your weight, you don't compare your weight from Tuesday to Saturday. You compare your weight from October 17th to November 17th, November 17th to December 17th, and that's what you compare. So at least 28 days. If it's been before then and you're watching this video and you're wondering why you're not seeing progress, nothing. There's no reason why. It just hasn't been long enough, all right? Number 5. You got to stop comparing your progress to other people. This is what trips a lot of people up. They think they're not making progress because Cheryl at the office is doing keto and she lost 12 pounds this week. Guess what? Doesn't fucking matter what Cheryl's doing because Cheryl has nothing to do with Rachel or whatever you are, whatever your name is watching this, has nothing to do with you. And what happens is you get caught up comparing your progress to somebody else's or Instagram models or TikTok people or whoever the hell else. Listen, dude, do you compare your finances? Do you call Cheryl at the office and say, Cheryl, what'd you make? What was your paycheck? What's in your savings account? What's in your retirement account? No, that'd be asinine. Why are you comparing your weight loss journey to hers? It has nothing to do with you. Just like her finances have nothing to do with you. It's your journey, nobody else's. So stop comparing yourself to other people. It's not gonna do you any good. It's not gonna benefit you. It's just gonna make you feel worse. You're gonna think you're not seeing progress. I can't tell you how many people, let's say they lose 3 pounds in a month, which would be tremendous progress, but they think, oh, well, Susan lost 7 pounds. Well, okay, gives a fuck what Susan's doing. Does Susan, have an issue with her relationship with food? Is Susan doing some unsustainable diet where she's just gonna gain all the weight back? Like, you don't know. Is Susan having a rough time at home and that's why she's not eating? Like, do you wanna lose 7 pounds because you wanna have a rough time at home? Stop it, man. Stop comparing your progress to other people. And last but not least, number 6, the reason you're not seeing progress, you gotta stop being an asshole to yourself, man. You have to stop being an asshole to yourself. You have to stop being so negative to yourself. You have to stop expecting yourself to be perfect. You have to stop having this all or nothing mentality. The reason you can't see progress is because you can't get long enough to actually see progress. Because you have one night where, God forbid, you go over in calories and you think you ruined all your progress and you fucked everything up and you should just quit and you're a failure and just keep going. So you just stop and quit. And that's why you can't see progress, because you're being an asshole to yourself, man. If your friend went over on his or her calories, are you gonna be like, oh, you fucked up, buddy. Might as well keep fucking going, loser? No. Why do you do it to yourself? Stop it. Number 1, make yourself aware of that you're doing this, and hopefully with this video right here, you're making yourself aware of it. And number 2, you gotta call yourself on your bullshit. You know you don't lose or gain progress in one night. When you ate perfectly on Tuesday, did you wake up Wednesday and be like, oh man, I lost 60 pounds, good to go. Rest of my life, perfect? No. So why do you think on one Friday night, oh my God, I went over calories by 200, which by the way is probably still a calorie deficit for you. I went over my calories by 200, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I fucked everything up, I might as well quit. You know it's not logical, you know that, everybody knows that, but in the moment you get very emotional and these kind of things. Take a step back and remind yourself of this video because you did not fuck anything up, dude. You just got to get right back on track and stop being such an asshole to yourself. Stop having these standards that aren't realistic. You're having these standards on yourself that you would put on nobody else or nobody else would even expect of you, but for some reason you think you got to be perfect 24/7. Stop it, man. You just, like we said, have to be consistent. So please stop being an asshole to yourself. It's all good. A lot of burps today. You don't make or break progress in one night. And again, stop being an asshole to yourself, okay? So guys, that was the 6 reasons why you can't see progress. I know for a fact one of those 6 things is happening. I know for a fact one of those 6 things is happening. If you're somebody who's very frustrated and you can't see progress, go back and rewatch this video. Get very honest with yourself. Again, I know it's not easy, but get very honest with yourself. Get very objective of yourself. Check your consistency. Check your calorie counting. Check how long it's been. If it's been 24 hours, it's not long enough. Check all these things, and I promise you, when you make yourself aware of these things, like consistency, for example, if you go run the numbers and you've been, 18 out of 31 days, you've been consistent, which I don't know what the number is, it's probably something in the 60 percentile range, like, it's just not going to see progress. And so what are you going to do? You're going to be you're going to be more aware of your consistency. Your consistency will then improve, because the more aware of something you are, the more it changes, the more it grows, the more it improves. And so make yourself aware of these things, then moving forward, you can see kick-ass progress, all right? If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, let me know, and I appreciate you, all right?